What's up, everyone? We apologize there for the YouTube difficulties. We have no idea what happened there. But let's go ahead and get into this. Let's see. Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural episode of the Console Corner, where we talk everything games. Today's episode is all about the Division Beta. Before we introduce our panel of gamers, I want to thank everyone that subscribes to our channel and who also follows us on Twitter. We really appreciate your support and letting us voice our opinions about gaming. Without you, none of this would be possible. Alright, now let's go ahead and introduce our panel of gamers, starting off with Desert She-Wolf.
Hey guys, this is Desert She-Wolf here. I am a co-host on Gamers Knows Best. You don't hear much from me. I kind of do all the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I'm coming forth now, so here we are.
Our next guest is Captain Zazzma.
Hey, this is Captain Zazzma. You might have heard my smooth voice from Under the Nerd Hood podcast that we used to do on this channel. Yeah, well, I'm here now.
And these next two guys you may recognize from their own channels as well as the Shop Podcast. First up, we have PTK Blam.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Blam. Great to be on GKB's channel. He's doing great things. Huge fan of his, as you guys know. Ready to get down on some topics, talk about the division. Let's rock out, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us.
And we are now joined by the busiest man on YouTube, Mr. AsthMattic.
Yeah, right. It hasn't felt like that this last week. I was so sucked in school having to do all that. But this week I'm back getting stuff recorded. I was a bit too impatient and recorded videos last night, but it was too dark, so I got to redo those. But yes, hello everybody. It is AsthMattic here. Happy to be a part of another podcast with these wonderful people and to get to meet new people in the gaming community.
Awesome. And of course, I'm GKB from Gamers Knows Best. All right, on to the topic of today, and that is the Division. The game released a closed beta this past weekend and a day earlier for Xbox fans for whoever pre-ordered the game. The Division is set to release in March, but there's a strong rumor of an open beta coming in February. This could be good news for anyone who didn't get into the closed beta. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and start this with an opening question. I want to go around the panel and get everybody's first impressions of the game. We're going to go ahead and start with Zazzma.
Personally, I love it. The environment, the one-to-one creation of New York, basically, and being in retail currently and having a story that revolves around retail being the patient zeros in an apocalypse is intriguing to me. So I really like it. I think it's awesome.
Awesome. We're going to go ahead and go to AsthMattic now.
I'm super excited for this game, as you guys know. The way they've sort of taken, you can look back the past couple years and see influences from a lot of different games like Watch Dogs and Destiny, and you can see that really what the Division has done is taken a lot of the best parts of all these games and brought them all together, and I think everybody over at Massive has done such a fantastic job that this is going to be a great way to start 2016 across all platforms.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and go with PTK.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much echo those same sentiments from those two guys. I'm enjoying the game. Me and Paul played a little bit last night. I finally got my ass into the Dark Zone. It's a great game. I mean, the graphics are fantastic. I just love the environment. Like Matt said, I mean, they take the best parts of a bunch of other games, and that seems to be where a lot of games are going nowadays this generation. I mean, you got these games that are like hybrids of other games or hybrids of like 2 or 3 different genres, and they're trying to do something different, which is very creative. I'm super excited for it. Do have some minor concerns, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But for overall, I love the game. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
All right, Desert She-Wolf.
Well, as most people know, I was actually a PC player before Xbox. Don't hate on me. Don't hate on me. But yeah, so I'm like really big into the MMOs like Guild Wars, and of course I used to play World of Warcraft and all that kind of stuff. So when I heard about the Division, it was definitely a really big hype because of course everyone knows of Destiny, which was kind of the same thing where it was supposed to be like an MMO but was disappointing in a lot of those aspects. So when I heard that Division was coming with that kind of same aspect, I was really excited for it. It has so much to be brought into it that it was just great to play. I've played in the alpha and the beta now, and yeah, I'm just thrilled. I can't wait for the game to be released.
Yeah, I think myself, like everybody else on here, pretty hype about this game. I was hyped from the E3 demo they showed last year. Just the way the environments reacted. You can close the doors, use all kinds of cool tech, and it's kind of that MMO style. I was pretty on board from the start. I'm a big Splinter Cell fan, so Tom Clancy's it
Echo that.
right. All right, that was awesome, guys. My next topic I wanted to cover is with Division being shown at E3, and now we've had a closed beta and a beta. A closed alpha and then a beta. There has been talk of possibly the game being downgraded, like graphically. My question to you guys is: do you think the game is graphically downgraded, and what do you think of the graphics and the art style of Division? Let's go ahead and start with AsthMattic.
Well, I think I have to lead my response by saying that I'm typically not the guy who will be a stickler for those kind of things, but I will also say that when I first played this, the alpha and now the beta on my TV at home, I was blown away with how beautiful it looked. And I'm on, I'm not on any kind of crazy TV, but I mean it's 1080, and yeah, it was great. I really love the way the graphics look on it. I know that was an issue with Watch Dogs, I thought. I don't really remember that because it was so long ago now, but I thought that was a PC thing that they downgraded it, and then they were able later to find a way to undo it, and it really made the graphics a lot better there. But playing, I went over to my girlfriend's house last night, and they have a fantastic TV in their living room, and we brought her Xbox down there, and playing it on there was a totally different experience. So, I mean, this is the most beautiful game I've ever played and that I've ever seen. So if there are any graphical downgrades that have been made, I don't care at this point because it's still awesome.
Oh, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and go to PTK.
Yeah. I just you see people. Let's start it out with this. The people that are nitpicking it, first of all, if you don't know anything about E3, typically when people go up there and these developers and publishers go up there, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they're gonna want to put their best foot forward. So a lot of games that are shown are on high-end PCs. That's just common sense. You know what I'm saying? It's called vertical slice. A lot of people use it. They want to put their best foot forward. So you're gonna show it. You're gonna show it in its best light. So that's not that big of a deal. In saying that, it's still a damn great looking game. I didn't get into the alpha. I played the beta quite a bit. Like I said before, me and you were playing last night, the day before. So the game looks phenomenal. So I don't have an issue. I'm not a stickler. I'm not sitting up there with my Digital Foundry calculator and magnifying glass counting pixels on my TV. So it doesn't really matter to me. The game is beautiful. Yeah, zooming in 8,000% just to check and make sure it's actually 1080p. I don't do any of that. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. The game is beautiful, like Matt said. You don't even have to have a really nice TV to see that it's a nice looking game, honestly. It runs great, which is I'm more concerned about it running well than actually it looking nice. I think it looks beautiful.
I totally agree, brother.
And it actually, the beta, because for me and what everybody should be concerned about for a big game, open world MMO type game, is how it runs, not how it necessarily looks. World of Warcraft looks like shit, but it runs.
Millions of people
runs
play.
Fine. World of Warcraft doesn't have Unreal 4, graphics or anything like that, but it's great. It runs, it works. So I love the fact that and on top of the fact that they got it to look this nice, on top of it actually running really well, I'm happy. I can't be any more ecstatic. So that's pretty much my opinion on that.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I want to piggyback on what Blam said about the E3 and the vertical slice. You also have to, the public gets to see the keynotes and all that kind of stuff, but you also have to remember that in those stands and people watching are also investors, so they have to show top-notch stuff to get people to invest in these games, so we can have these games to play. That's just the nature of the beast. So I hate when people come out and say, oh, it's not what it was on E3. It's still a damn good game. I have to say, the graphics are, the environments are so detailed in here. There's little rats running around doing crazy animations and fighting with birds and stuff like that. You can see all the way down the streets, all the, city skyline.
I was very impressed with the draw distance, too, especially for a console game. Draw distance is pretty damn. You can see pretty far in that game, down the block.
Exactly.
You got to throw the weather in that as well, because
man.
that's only when
the
it's
weather.
clear. But when the fog rolls in and it starts snowing, and you're like, man,
You
I was gonna
can't
go like
see. Yeah.
take out some bad guys, and now I can't because my visibility is like 20 feet.
Yeah. Not only that, like the tension goes up too. You're like, oh man, who's behind me? You know?
Well,
What's going on?
you actually also see, like, when it's nighttime, you see the stars in the sky, and when it's daytime, you see the clouds in the sky actually far off. Like, it's actually a clear detail, not like some fuzzy pixel looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
No low res skyboxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
played the alpha, and I have to say it's like between the alpha and the beta, they did so much more work to this game. It looks so much better than it did in the alpha stage. So I'm pretty happy with the graphics. I can tell you right now, if Ubisoft said, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and unlock this game, and you guys can buy it tomorrow," I'm buying it. Like no problem with it. All right, let's
Yeah.
go ahead
I
and
think a lot of people share that same sentiment. So.
all right, let's go ahead and go to Desert She-Wolf. How do you like the graphics?
Truthfully, it plays. Like, yes, okay, I care about graphics, but I'm not, like, really big into it. And yes, everyone's making the big fuss, it's 1080p, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, I want to be able to play it. COD is a nice-looking game, but yet I can never play the damn thing. So, you know, give me a game that works. It looks gorgeous. They for the open world that it is, they got so much into it and still kept the game going strong. Not once during the beta or the alpha did I really glitch out anywhere major. Did I, I got kicked out a couple times from server, but I never like glitched where you're like jumping along the street. Yes, there was a few things where, people were kind of like had guns in the air, but
Right,
you
but it's a
know,
beta.
yeah, exactly. But the world itself, like you have weather changing and it flowed. There was no skipping between each like the weather. It just came.
Awesome.
So truthfully, I have no problems with the graphics and how they did it. So.
All right, let's go ahead and hear from Captain Zazzma.
Okay, before I start, I have to know if it's coming up as another topic, the negativity in E3 again, because I will save my anger for later.
Later.
Okay, then I'll save it. All I have to say about it is I like it. I really like the weather. I am completely in agreement with that. And like I know a lot of people have been passing over it, but I think it's a really neat thing that we can switch on and off the chromatic aberration, even though no one knows really what that means. And you can sharpen the image like on consoles. I mean, if you care about
That's a good point, man.
if you care about graphics that much, go and spend $3,500 on a PC. Like I'm done with that argument in console gaming entirely.
Yeah. All right, awesome, guys. That's a great topic. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Moving into the next topic, I'm really interested in what everyone thought of the gameplay. The mechanics of the game, I feel like makes and breaks the game. With a game like this, that you could potentially be playing for months and even years. If the gameplay sucks, it's really not going to be that fun. So, what did you guys think of the gunplay, the maneuver, the UI, whatever? Let's go ahead and start with Desert.
Okay, well, my first complaint is you should be able to crouch. If you're walking through the street, you should be able to crouch. Like, every game has that, but you can't. Or, like, even just jump in the air. Like, if you have, like, friends running around, you should be able to jump and actually show where you are, but no, you can't. So, I do have an issue with a couple of the actual mechanics of the game. I wish their menu was a little more organized. I don't really like the layout of the inventory.
Yeah, where it's kind of like all over the place.
Well, there's menus in menus. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's too many. It's just way, way too many. Like, I had an issue when we first started trying to find where my Dark Zone gear was. And then where it was when it was extracted. Like, there's just so many categories that it was just way too much for me.
That's a very good point. I mean, I think they should streamline the whole inventory system. That's good. What did you like about the game mechanics?
I like the weather, of course, the different weather changes. I would like to see if they're going to bring more. I'm curious if they're going to have actual thunderstorms and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I would. I love thunderstorms, so that would just be amazing. But you know, the running, I do find you're a little slow, but of course you are human, so I guess I can
That's
understand
true.
why the mechanics of
We all
your
can't be
running.
Master Chief.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. So
Don't
I
take
can
that away from me.
exactly. So I can completely understand why, why you can't run very fast. But, the fact that you can only roll, I don't know. I'm not big on that one. But other than that, like everything else is, pretty good. Your gun switching was really good. It was quick and easy. Your grenade throwing and your specials, your abilities and all that, that was easy to find. The abilities and all that was straight and easy. So
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and hear from Mr. AsthMattic.
I'm loving these mechanics. One of my favorite things about it is how when you're doing when you're doing any of the side missions and everything, you really get that feeling that you're in the same world. It's not like you're broken off into a separate server, separate area, or anything like that, or it's something that's locked when you're not doing the mission. Like there's the side mission in the beta where you have to go hunt down like this convict, and it's just like you just kind of wander into this apartment complex, and then here's the guys, and then there you go through and you get to the top, and then there's your the boss. And I really like the way they did that, and I like the level of detail that they go into, like with what items are equipable, and you're customizing stuff. Like, when we have like full like RPG games like your Skyrim or Oblivion or your Fallout, where you've got every little piece of armor is something different and they're all customizable and interchangeable. But here in the Division, you've got like your chest piece, you've got a mask, you've got like your holster for your pistol, and your knee pads, and it's no BS. It's just super simple, and it's not overly complicated if you wanted to run different builds. And the adding modifications to your weapons is a good system, and the way they do modifications is really good, because that's something that I do typically end up being a stickler for, is really accurate gunplay, especially in a game like this where our characters are supposed to be people who are very highly trained and really know their weapons and what they're capable of. And it's like, I want to see accessories and stuff like that do what they're meant to do, and I feel like they've really nailed that in this.
Let me ask you a question, AsthMattic. Like when you equipped mods, did you see a difference in like DPS, or did they really affect you that much? Could you tell?
A little bit. I liked, to be honest, the last couple weapons that I had got in the beta, I already had mods that I equipped on them right away, so I couldn't actually tell you what they're like without them. But I like seeing how, like, I always feel pressure now to run a silencer, or excuse me, a suppressor, in the Division, because I'm wanting to be more stealthy. But just things where, like, when I find, or no, I can say this, because when I first started out running, I don't remember what weapon it was, but it was a full auto assault rifle. Like, anytime I laid into the trigger, it was just jumping all over the place. And then as soon as I got a suppressor on that, it was way more easy to control. And I noticed a difference right away on that. And I like that you have the option of like an extended magazine versus a like quick release magazine, because for me, I prefer the extended magazine, but I can totally see how if someone else has the playstyle of jumping from cover to cover more often, you might want the quick release, because then you could get into cover, fire a little bit, and then you can change. Another thing I like in the mechanics is you can reload while you're changing cover to cover. So you could be reloading with your quick release magazine while changing to a different cover, and it really lets you be more precise on how you want to go through firefights, and it lets you really have a much more unique playstyle.
Awesome. What about you, PTK? How'd you like the gameplay?
Gameplay was fantastic. I guess one of the gripes I have is that I find the enemies to be kind of spongy.
Okay.
Depending on the weapon you're using and things like that. I'm not a big fan of like bullet sponge type enemies. AI was great. I mean, they were fine. I mean, you had enemies, with the bats that run at you. Some enemies took cover, or you killed one of the enemies. The other ones took off trying to take cover so that they wouldn't be killed. So the AI is pretty good. I actually really, really, really love the cover system. Like once you're crouched, you can literally aim yourself in any piece of thing that's fallen down or behind any flat surface, and you can actually run directly to that, and it'll automatically crouch. I love that feature. That's kind of like very Gearsy, for them to allow you to do
To
that. It
kind-
gives you a lot of.
To kind of go off of Blam, sorry, I don't mean to cut
Go
anyone
ahead.
off.
No, you're fine.
Just
Go ahead.
about the gun thing. One thing I loved about the mechanics is when you're crouched down behind something, you actually like point your gun up over top of like whatever you're hiding behind and like shoot like as if you're actually hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not one of those glitchy, like you can't see over the cover type deals, like Call of Duty where you can't really, you're not really, there's no cover system.
Right.
It's kind of like you're just tall enough to poke your gun over it. So, so I mean, I think they did great with that. I don't really have too many gripes. I mean, I love the play style. It was smooth, even the rolling, everything like that. There's no glitches there. I haven't really gotten to play around with all of the guns. I just got into the Dark Zone, so I wasn't, unable to get, some of the guns you guys had access to. But from what I had, I mean, it was pretty fun. I like the fact that there is a ton of different mods, and that each one of them has their own impact. You may have two of the same grip, but one may have a little bit better statistics than the other. So it always gives you that okay, you know what? I'm gonna put this one on because it gives me a little bit better feel on the gun, or I'm gonna swap this one out. I can break this one down. So even if you're picking up other grips, they might be the same. You may just pick up one that's exactly the same, but it has a little bit slightly better statistics in a certain area. So I like that they give people a lot of options there, because a lot of times what happens with Destiny is, in a game like Destiny, which is they're comparing this game to, is that you pick up the same equipment and it's like, there's really no difference. You maybe sometimes get a different role, but a lot of times you're going to end up breaking it down anyway. Like, it's really not useful at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I like the fact that there's different things that you can use. So that was one of the only gripe I had, was kind of the bullet spongy enemies, having to shoot them like 30 rounds before you can get them down. But maybe they'll tweak it. I don't know. Maybe I was just using a terrible gun. I don't know. So
well, one thing that I actually noticed with that is because this morning I was watching King Ithalian playing over on Twitch, and he's been playing the beta pretty much nonstop. And so he's got, I don't remember how to pronounce the name of it, but there's that one high-end assault rifle that the guy in the Dark Zone safe house is selling, and he's got that rifle that's all kitted out with stuff. And when he would go up against some NPCs that were a couple levels lower than him, he absolutely destroyed them. Like, he wasn't even using cover. He was just walking right up to people and eliminating them right out. And so it looks like right now the level advantages against NPCs are very, very steep. So it's like when you first start out, and it's your level 4 or whatever, and it's like, if you're facing a guy who's level 6, that's going to feel really, really hard. But when we're talking about the level cap being 30, and then if you're going to be running around in like a 20 zone, I feel like you're just going to be able to mow through NPCs, at least the way the game stands right now.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Captain Zazzma, how'd you like the gameplay?
Oh, gameplay I loved. I mean, just like anybody else in this group who has fired a real gun, I am a big stickler for guns acting correctly.
I'm right there with you.
Climb. I love the little details too. Like, for instance, I'm big fan of Mosin Nagant, for anybody who doesn't know, that bolt action rifle. And it changes the way that you reload it based on how many shots are left, just as realistically as you would in real life. And that's like that level of detail that you always see in Tom Clancy that I love. I also love the level of importance that you can feel even if you are not that good at these games. Like just being a support class. I mean, I sometimes went through without even firing a shot, just healing, and whenever we had those like big LMGs just laying down the suppression, and that alone was an AI advantage to me for the fact that they get suppressed by covering fire, basically. It's just, I mean, it's really a great mechanically made game from a lot of the stuff that I've seen recently on every aspect of it. Not just, I mean, you always find really good guns in Tom Clancy games, though. They really concentrate on that over almost everything. And, I mean, other than that, I haven't found, like, any real issues with it that I've seen, except for some Dark Zone sponginess. I've had some kills where I feel like I got robbed.
Yeah.
Hey, Captain, I know one thing I'm sure you're mad about. You can't do a wheel.
That is something that I am a little bit upset about.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know you could do
Yeah, and he says
do
it in
pistol?
every game he wants
You
to do
can't.
a will. And they
Yeah.
don't have that.
Every game, I'm a fan of dual wielding because I like to think that if a real apocalypse happened, I would get killed being stupid like that and trying it.
Oh, there
So,
you go.
No,
Because you want to
hold
save
on.
ammo, man.
No, you would get killed doing stupid what you did at the gun range where you're trying
well,
to twirl your gun.
that is
Yeah.
probably a whole nother podcast worth
Yeah, I have to go a little bit with what everyone said here. I think my biggest gripe I thought was the actual spongy enemies as well. And like one of my biggest pros about the game mechanics itself is the cover system. I thought it was fantastic. It's fluid. I never got hung up on anything. You can jump up on cars. You can close the doors. Just like what Captain Zazzma was saying, you can tell the passion that these developers had in just the small details they added to this game. I mean, you could shoot the tires and they explode and deflate, and the car actually moves. What other game have you seen that in?
Yeah, I noticed that. I went around just shooting tires for the hell of it.
I know I was doing the same thing.
When I
I
first
shoot
saw
the
that,
cars just to make them honk.
Yeah. Well, I haven't, but I'm
Be
going to do
alarmed.
that now.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and I just you could tell that they really enjoyed making this game. Yeah, that's about it for me on that one. Awesome topic, guys. All right, let's go into our next one here. With this being like an MMO type of game, it's important that we talk about like the PvE and PvP aspects of the game. So let's go ahead and start with the PvE part of it. Let's go ahead and start with PTK this time.
as far as PvE, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think, I'm not going to lie, I may end up enjoying PvE a little bit more than PvP. We'll have to see when the full version of the game comes out. I think for me, it's the fact that the setting is so dynamic. The way they have New York City looking and the whole after apocalypse. When I walked into Madison Square Garden when I first saw it, I was like, holy shit! Like they should have almost let you like shoot a jump shot or something. You know what I'm saying? Like how accurate it was. It was just seeing it, like the beds and bodies, and just I love the environment. I love the story. There is some semblance of a story, which is a big improvement over a game like we keep saying Destiny, which is kind of going to become like a troll word for the Division, but it's such it's kind of that hybrid type of game like Destiny, but I think the story is going to be pretty cool. One thing I did notice that kind of irked me, and it's kind of small, but your character doesn't talk.
That's true.
I mean, like they'll be having a full conversation in a cutscene, and you're just standing there staring at whoever's talking.
And just listening to it. Yeah.
I can understand why they do that. I mean, they don't really talk in Destiny either, but it's just that's one of those small things. I don't know if they ever change that or that just maybe it'll be that way. But I think I'm gonna enjoy PvE quite a bit. I love the missions. I love the fact that there's a lot of randomness. You can run into a lot of different scenarios running around the area, doing different things. Maybe you're on your way to a mission and you see a bunch of enemies doing something, or you can see people getting robbed and different things like that. And you can stop and do side quests on your way there. A lot of variety there, so I'm really hyped about the PvE aspect of the story. So love to see more though.
Awesome. Captain Zazzma, I know you're a big story guy, so how'd you like the PvE?
I am a big story guy, and I mean, like I have been a big follower of Tom Clancy games forever. I mean, Rainbows were great. They always make a story in these that are not. It's not going to be any kind of blockbuster, super amazing story, but they're always very consistent. Always something with the either counterterrorism or something about the government doing something fishy. And I hate to keep just like PTK said, I hate to keep bringing up the game that shall not be named anymore, but really all they have to do is almost the opposite of what that did for this to be good. Give us a bunch of raids because not even raids, even like that Madison Square Garden mission. I've ran that thing like some odd 30 times already, and still it is pretty fun. Give us a lot of them.
That mission up. I thought it was so much better to play it on hard mode than it was on normal mode.
It is. So
It's
much
a lot better.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. So much better. I mean, it's just, and as long as you just do the opposite of what Destiny did, don't make PvE seem like a chore to get to the end game. don't make it where that's like, don't make it where we have lines that are laughable, which it doesn't seem like it's going to go that way. Even the side missions are a lot more interesting than, oh, let's go around this planet and collect like 4 of these bins and done. Like, everything seems interesting. I'm excited for these cleaners. I'm excited for how good this could actually be. And, if as long as you just do it to where it's just a solidly written story, that's
Yeah.
all we need, and the gameplay's already there, so
And,
it's
and
really
there's
easy.
another thing. I don't mean to cut you off. There's another
No,
thing I
you're
want to interject too. Was that the difference? Like you said, you were talking about Destiny. You're talking about this game. Is that this game seems to be like it seems to have a direction. Destiny felt disjointed. Like it wanted to be a lot of different things, but did none of them like incredibly well. And I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? It wanted to
You're
be
right
an
on.
MMO, but it wanted to be a shooter. But it wanted to be an RPG. But none of them. It was just so disjointed. And on top of that, there weren't really much of a story on top of that. So, like he said, I think really with this game, I mean, if you have some semblance of a direction that people can sit down and say, okay, I know what I'm going to do in this story. I know that there's a direction that they're trying to go. There's a story that they're trying to tell. There's something going on, and I can like follow it. I think you'll have a you have a heads up. So I think they're doing great in that area too.
Which
So I just want to throw that in. I ain't even cut nobody off.
no, did you? I mean, have you guys heard about like the story structure so far? How we're apparently going to have like 3 different sides to the story, which is
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah, I heard about
interesting. I mean, as far as that goes, because and as long as their head writer, whatever, doesn't bail out in the next month and take all his work with him,
Yeah.
I don't think that we are going to have an issue. Like from
Do you
the
think
little
any of the
Madison Square
stories?
Garden, it's good.
Do you think any of the stories going to take you to before all of that happened, like before the collapse or whatever?
In
See, I'm
honesty,
hoping
it's just
the
speculation at this point, but
well, I'm hoping like the intro kind of like sets that
Like
all
the
up for you.
intro level,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
would
hope
be
that.
really nice to have
Right.
the intro level before all of this stuff happened.
that's what I've been hearing too about like, because there is like the case of the missing Brooklyn right now. How everybody's really freaking out about that. Some people are saying that the intro mission is Brooklyn, and just like the bounds of the map don't hit Central Park, but the developers have mentioned that we will
Well-
see Central Park in some capacity. So maybe we get to travel to it. I don't know.
Well, see, in that aspect though, there's one like developers even said Brooklyn was never said to be like released.
Yeah,
They
that's
said
true.
it's going to be a DLC, but everyone just assumed because they saw an image of it that oh my god, it has to be there, and then everyone freaks out about it when the developers never said it was going to be.
I think that goes back to the whole downgrading question we had too.
No, I think everybody's worried it's all the hype for Destiny, and then when we all got it. It wasn't what everyone expected, and
We've
I
been
think
hurt
a
before.
lot of people worry
Yeah,
about
that
that
makes
now
That's a good point.
because they all expect, nobody wants to get as hyped because they're worried they're going to be let down.
True.
Like it's really hard to. So
How about you, AsthMattic? How'd you like the PvE?
The PvE, I think, is going to end up being I want to say the strongest part of the game, and I think that's not just me, but a lot of people right now are hyping the Dark Zone a lot because that's really all there is to do in the beta. We've got that one mission that is a great mission, but it's like you go through and you're like, sweet, that's awesome. You kind of get a taste for the way the whole PvE is going to play out, but overall there's not that much content there, but that's just by nature of it being a beta.
Mhm.
And I think this is kind of where in the long run the Division is going to end up proving itself to be a better product than Destiny, because I think a big problem Destiny had is that you can do 95% of the game by yourself and you can do it well and you can succeed, but then as soon as you get to the part where you have to start doing their raids, you can do absolutely nothing unless you have a group of 6. And it's such a steep cutoff where all of a sudden if I don't have a big group, I just can't play this game anymore. And I think the Division is going to continually have playable content and fun replayable content that you can do alone or with a smaller group, all the way through that area. And then you can always do missions on individual missions like that on a lower difficulty by yourself, or you can always you can always bring your friends in as well and make it more fun and then kick the difficulty up. So that's where I really think we're going to see the Division prove itself in the long run, and the PvE is going to be a much deeper experience in the full game than it is in the beta.
Which, to add on to that, Matt, have you tried the difference? Because I know we just did it the other day. The difference in how well they scale if you're running solo, even on hard mode, versus if you're running with 4 people. They put like that number of people in it, so you're able to run it even on hard mode single.
Really?
Which
Okay,
is,
I haven't done that yet.
yeah,
I'll do
they-
that today.
they said like 5 times against us whenever we were running 4 people on hard mode. It was ridiculous.
That's awesome. No, I'll try that today for sure, because I did it by myself, and then I did it on hard with my friend, and it felt harder, but then, yeah, I was with my friend, so it probably felt even harder than it would have.
Yeah, if you go full 4, it's absolutely like
Oh my
psychotic.
god, yes. It like
Same.
pull out scales.
And I
Well,
enjoyed
now I
every
know
minute
what
of
we're
it.
doing after the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. See, I haven't even done that, so I didn't know it's scaled like that. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat. I like that. What about if everybody in your group is at like different rank? Still, does it scale to the highest person?
That's been weird,
Scale
yeah.
to the lowest.
It
person?
scales to whoever sets it, which it seems
Oh,
like it's
whoever's
highest.
the leader.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Zone's been doing that too, where it's been mismatching us because we were different levels. So
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make it so you can't run people through the highest level thing, and then
Yeah,
give
like
them,
power
the best
leveling
gear.
anybody?
Yeah, there's no power leveling from the looks of it, which
Yeah,
is a pretty good failsafe actually.
I love that.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
want to bring something up too, just
Go
one
ahead.
more
Go ahead.
thing before you move on. A shout out to Jamie Moran too. He's listening in. He's always in everybody's podcast. Shout out Jamie. He did make a great point. I guess one of the things I also want to bring up is the fact that content. Oh shoot. Sorry.
We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
It's cutting out.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I keep doing that. I'm sorry. All right, I apologize. I keep hitting the wrong button. But content's gonna prove king. Because these
Absolutely.
games, these type of games, they're only gonna be played over and over again. Based on the content. It's gonna have to be a steady flow. Because I mean, Destiny's problem, like Jamie said, was that that there was no, each content, each DLC that came out, it made the previous one irrelevant. So
Yeah.
I hope they don't have that situation where they're coming out with DLC every 6 months, and it's making the guns you just grinded together, the guns you just picked up irrelevant, or something like that. So hopefully they can like balance that out and constantly put out some great content. That way everybody will keep getting fresh new content and continue to play. So content's going to be a huge deal for this. It's going to make
For
or
sure.
break the division.
Absolutely, absolutely. What about you, Desert? How'd you like the PvE?
I really like how you can like go through the houses and you can actually scavenge for stuff. I like that you have the missions, the side missions, and then of course you have like you can be running down the street and feed a homeless person and get XP. You can
That's a good point. Yeah.
there's so much you can do to get XP without actually having to just grind and grind and grind the same mission over and over and over again. So that definitely makes it a lot more helpful. You can have friends if you want to run it with friends, or you can run it by yourself, like you guys all said. So I definitely like the echoes. Someone mentioned that in, I believe Jeff
Yeah.
mentioned that
Shout
in
out
the
to Jeff
chat.
there.
The echoes, it's cool how you see the backstory and
Oh, yeah, I
stuff
think
that was going on.
That was Predator, I believe, too.
Sorry, Predator.
Yeah. Whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He said,
I see
okay,
that
no
the deaf person's
deal.
talking a lot. So. Yes, Predator. Okay, I just saw it. I went back. I saw it. Correct myself. Predator.
Okay.
Thank you. The echoes and how they tell the story and stuff. I thought that was really cool how you could see what was going on. I do like how they're not actually telling the story yet. That they're actually waiting to release that with the game. I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely love the open world.
Yeah.
Yep, same here. Yeah, mine's pretty much like everyone else's here. I really enjoyed, even though we only had that one mission, I really enjoyed. I played it multiple times, just like Captain Zazzma there, and just ramping up the level and having a bunch of people in there. It seemed almost like it was a different mission every time we played it. So yeah, I do enjoy the echoes as well. I thought that was very interesting, how it's like some holograms of what actually happened in the past. I thought that was a really cool idea. just the detail in the environment where you can just go into the buildings and go through, apartments and stuff, and almost they have it so well detailed that almost tells a story in itself of who used to live there and what happened to these people. I thought that was very interesting and in a good way to tell some of the small stories of other people that were in this environment. So yeah, I'm totally enjoying the PvE. I can't wait to see where the story goes. All right, so real quick, let's go ahead and move on to the PvP part, which is sometimes even bigger than the PvE part sometimes. Let's go ahead and start with Desert on this one. How'd you like the Dark Zone?
Oh my god, I loved it. I'd go in there and I'd just shoot people to get them to like turn on me and go rogue. So, oh my god, I loved the Dark Zone. I love that you got to run around and I don't fully understand the whole difference between the level and then having to have a rank as well. That kind of, seemed a little weird, but, you had to have it for certain guns and stuff like that. I liked how you were able to go to vendors and actually get guns and stuff. You could actually just buy them, which helped instead of having just drops. The extraction, that's kind of neat. It's almost like its own little mode inside of itself where you have to actually try to extract your stuff without getting killed in the process.
Yeah, I agree. That's almost like a little mini game in itself when that happens.
Yeah, or you can be the mean one and just throw a bomb in the middle of all of them and but no, it's definitely, you definitely need a group though. I really don't recommend going in by yourself though. Like going in by yourself does make it really hard.
Mhm. Awesome. Let's go ahead and go with PTK. How'd you like the Dark Zone?
The limited amount of time that I got to play it, I didn't really, play it a lot. I played it about an hour or two yesterday with GKB.
Well, the interesting thing with me and you, Blam, is we were kind of like on a server that really didn't have a lot of people in there when we were playing.
Yeah, and that was kind of weird. We didn't. It was because he had been telling me previously that like, okay, man, there's gonna be some people in here. We just standing at the entrance, like, okay, man, follow me and do this, stay close. I'm like, okay, and we're just running around. It's like, okay, where the hell are all the people? And I'm like, I don't know where everybody's at. So,
can I just cut it for just a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just because you were talking just before it got skipped over, talking about that you guys were in one room by yourself. When you're with friends, I hope they're gonna fix that issue, or if it's gonna be permanent. But when you're in with your friends, you couldn't actually find your friends, even though they were showing on the map.
Oh, the little glitch part where
you could see the dots. Like, I'm curious if that's gonna actually.
If you weren't in a party, it wouldn't just automatically put you in the same server.
Yeah, like you could see their dots and where they're running around on your map, but you couldn't actually see them, and you couldn't get into the same one as them either if you weren't in a group.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That is something that we were trying to get in a group last night. Me, She Wolf, GKB. I can't. Was it Zazzma too yesterday that was playing or no?
Might have been. I don't remember.
I don't remember. But we're all trying to get in and yeah, she couldn't get into the game. But just my impressions of the Dark Zone so far. Not your typical PvP. It kind of to me, in my opinion, I'm more of a proactive player. Like I like stuff to be going on. I like to have a clear goal. It kind of feels like just because it's the beta, like you almost have to initiate action for something to happen. Because you could literally be in a dark zone and nobody shoot at you at all. Because everybody's kind of like wary of each other. And you're kind of running around just, fighting NPCs and, nothing's really going on. And, so I'm kind of curious are they going to have game modes possibly where it's like some kind of objective where your group is fighting with another 3 or 4 groups and you guys all have one objective. You got to, do some kind of extraction or something like that. That way it kind of initiates the interaction between everybody, because I love Destiny's PvP. I'm a really big fan of it. That's all I play on Destiny now is the PvP. But just curious to see if that's going to carry over into the Division, because just from the experience, like I said, we're running around doing a bunch of stuff, and me and him were just shooting people for the hell of it because there really wasn't much going on at the time. Like, people are just kind of running past each other, and that was it. So I'm curious to see if they're going to have game modes, or they're going to add in different types of things like that to initiate more interaction with everybody in the dark zone. So I liked it though for the most part. So.
Awesome.
I just want to answer this question. Sorry again, don't mean to cut
Is
in.
that the Jeff question? Because I was about to answer too.
Okay, yeah, about different ways to earn DZ.
Yeah, go for it.
No, you don't have to just kill rogue agents. You can actually become rogue, kill people, steal their money. If you outlive and survive being a rogue, you also get money depending on your level. You can also kill AIs, which then gives you DZ money. And also there's chests that if you find, we haven't figured out if it's only once per day or if you can open more with Dark Zone keys. You actually get 1,000. So there is definitely different ways.
There's multiple ways, no problem. I didn't really know what to expect with PvP in this game. They were really hush-hush about it. They were like, oh, this Dark Zone, and we really didn't know. So I was a little apprehensive going into this. I didn't know if I was going to like it. And after playing it, like AsthMattic said, I was hooked. I was like, what can we do? How can we, do these tactics to take out this dude? And, we got to watch our back, you go on point, you watch the back, it was just fantastic. And then when the snow and the fog come in, like the visibility is like you can only see a couple feet in front of you at that point, and the tension just goes skyrocketing, and you're just looking everywhere, like who's out there, like also manhunt. Like when you reach a certain level from going rogue for a while, you go into like manhunt mode, where pretty much everyone can see you on the board, and it's just all out war at that point. Everybody pretty much just goes after you, and it's a great like little mini game in itself too, to see how long you can last. I thought that was kind of fun. Like Desert said, the what was it called, the how you get your gear out, I forgot what it's called. Extraction. That's like a little mini game. It's just everything in the Dark Zone is just high tension, high alert, and I thought it was just fantastic. Let's go ahead and go on to AsthMattic. What do you think?
I think they did a really good job with the PvP. For me, because I'm not typically a guy who's all about the PvP, like I guess I'm sort of the opposite of Blam in that I hardly ever play Crucible in Destiny. I'm all about just hanging out and wandering around different planets and doing stuff and being Mr. PvE guy. But I love the Dark Zone in here because it doesn't always feel like it's not like you have to be going out and killing people. And it's I'm sorry Desert, but I'm Mr. like rogue killer. Like if anyone pops up on my map that's out there and the manhunt's on, I'm like, I'm out. Like I don't care what I'm doing. I'm hunting that guy down. Let's go.
Oh, you probably kill me a lot then. I would wait till everyone was at an extraction, then I would just blow them up.
Yeah, she's one of those.
I was, yeah. Though, okay, I did have my method, though. I would shoot someone a couple times and make them go rogue.
There you go. Trying to kind of trick them into it.
Yeah. Yes, I did that quite a bit.
Nice. But no, but that was one thing too that I was interested in getting that high-end rifle, but I was like, I just don't think I'm going to be able to do enough right now to get that many credits because that thing's expensive. But I've loved playing in the Dark Zone. Extraction is the longest 90 seconds of my life. I'm sweating every single time, which I got to give props to the developers there because if you lay it out on paper, what you do in the Dark Zone is relatively simple. You go, you find loot, you try to either avoid or defeat rogue agents and get your loot out. But yet, even with that simplicity, when you're playing it, it feels so tactical, and there's so much tension, and they really nailed the atmosphere, which is what really sells it and makes it a lot of fun and makes guys like me, who typically aren't all about PvP, really excited to play it and amped to go into the Dark Zone. Because I'm that guy who now I'm turning off the lights in my room, and I'm like putting my headset on, and I'm like all up to my TV. All right, we're in the Dark Zone. Things are crazy. So it's a great experience.
Awesome. How about you, Captain?
For this one, I want to gloss over the fact that they've had a cheating problem on PC, and I've been robbed of some really real kills, and we don't know how to do the chests yet, and just talk about the Dark Zone as a whole, because it is a philosophical masterpiece. It is so telling of your personality and how you would react to situation that
That's a
I
good
think
point, man.
it is a psychology test. Because yeah, you have me and Matt here who are valiant rogue hunters for justice, and then you have like She-Wolf Unabomber over here prowling without any purpose, not even to steal gear, just because she wants to watch the world burn and people die. So
Wow. Okay.
it's so absolutely telling of like of a situation like this, and it feels like they made it so perfect how you can't trust anybody around you whatsoever. Like even if you go and revive these people, you can't tell if they're going to turn a gun on you or what. Like it's so amazingly well done for something that, as Matt said, is so simple on paper that it's just incredible. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this either. Have you noticed a like lack of in-game soundtrack in the Dark Zone because they are making it
It's
where
very
all-
ambiance,
yeah.
like sounds and
It's
stuff.
like a horror movie. It's like you're waiting for that like donna donna donna
Yeah.
sound
You hear
to
the
like
wind
pop
and
up.
you hear
Law
like
and Order every time you
no.
walk in.
Hear the footsteps running is what you hear.
You hear the guns in the distance, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, just like you were saying, too, that is the longest 90 seconds of your life. You're in cold sweats, and it's just like, I don't know if I can trust this guy. I don't know if I should kill this guy before he kills me, all because I want a pair of green gloves that drop that I can get anywhere. And it is very telling of this situation as a whole. I think it is. I mean, I honestly, like, I don't know if it's giving it way too much credit, but I think it's just a brilliant, brilliant thing. And that, again, maybe way too much credit. I might like it way more than I should, but I just think it's absolutely one of the most intricate things to get made, but still so simple at the same time.
I think it just. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just different from speaking from a different perspective. I mean, we've all played Call of Duty a lot, whether you love the game or not. But we hate it now. We played, we played Halo, we played different things like that. And I mean, what I was talking about for the game mode is just give other people that like to play different ways an option. Like I get the tension, I get the fact that it's like it's supposed to be that way. I'm getting that in the single player too. Like I don't know what's gonna happen when I run around the city, So I'm not lacking or anything like that. It's just that like, just for like maybe a game mode or two, just for for somebody who likes to do objective based type things. Like I want to go out with my team. We're gonna get in here. There's 4 other teams. We all have to go after the same extraction point or something. So it's simple, very simple, and it's very doable in the game. Just something like that. I wasn't saying like, oh, it needs 12 game modes like search and destroy or anything like that. Although the game is built, you can probably put just about any game mode you have in COD in that game, and it'll probably work just as well, or even better on some points. Like I think Desert even mentioned like a hide and seek game mode or something like that would be kind of fun in a big city. You know what I'm saying? She mentioned that yesterday while we were playing. So I think that's more where I was coming from. But it is, I'm not trying to downplay it or discredit it. It's just that I think stuff like that would be like awesome, for just like the general people who are just coming to play. They can say, "Oh, this is a familiar game type. I think it'll be fun to play." So I don't know.
You want a multiplayer game mode without the stakes being so real, because that's half like the tension of the Dark Zone, is that you can lose your XP in there, and you can lose your gear,
or
and
even hell, even keep the stakes high. I mean, that's just another, you can keep the stakes where they're at now. Like, if you lose some of your gear. Like, I mean, they don't have to change any of that. Just maybe a couple game modes just for people to play different things.
Truthfully, I think that's going to be actually one of the biggest issues of this game, is with not actually having an actual purpose other than getting your gear and stuff like that from the Dark Zone, is when the game actually releases, I think people are actually going to be a lot more cautious when they're in there. It's not going to be like the beta where everyone just kind of went in and just killed people for the heck of it. Because people are actually going to go in there and actually are going to be trying to get this stuff. They're going to be more cautious.
Up and get gear,
Yeah, so it's not actually going to be as hectic as what everybody's making it out to be. I think it's actually you're probably going to have a couple jerks, yes. There's always those people. And no, I'm not one of them, so don't pick on me, Dakota.
Awesome. That was a great topic, guys. It was a great conversation. Big shout out to everybody watching us. I think we were over like 20 at one time, and that's great. Thanks for the love, guys. We really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get into a next topic. It's kind of not controversial, but if you read any kind of gaming media, they like to compare the Division to Destiny. I want to go out to you guys and see, is that a fair comparison? Do you guys think? In my opinion, I think if you look at it like in a technical standpoint, yeah, they're both shooters, yeah, they're both MMOs. I could see that, but I think they do totally different things. So I wanted to go ahead and start with Blam because he still plays a lot of Destiny, and I want to see what his take was on that one.
Well, it's probably the closest thing we have to compare it to. Like I said, this whole mix and matching, throwing three different types of games is, I mean, it's fairly new. There's other games who have done it in the past and or attempted it, but it's really getting popular since Destiny.
Mhm.
There are a few games that are, Homefront's another game was going to kind of be like Destiny-esque. That game's going to come out and be leveling system, all that kind of stuff. So, but for Destiny, I guess it's fair. I would say that they do have two clear different aims as far as like the gameplay and the objectives and where Ubisoft as compared to Bungie was going.
Mhm.
I just think it's a natural comparison though. Like it's the closest thing we have to compare it to. And for all intents and purposes, Destiny is very popular, or was at one point. I probably still is, but not as popular as it used to be. But it's still a very popular game. So and the Division is shaping up to be a very popular game. People are saying it may take people away from Destiny. So I think that's where the comparisons kind of came from. Because people are like, you know what, this may get me off of Destiny. I may jump into this more and start playing this more because of Destiny's lack of content, lack of new updates, different things like that. But I think it's kind of a fair comparison because the games are hybrids of a bunch of different genres. So I think it's okay that you can compare the two.
Awesome. What about you, AsthMattic? What do you think?
Yeah, I really like the point Blam made that it's overall I don't really feel like it's a totally fair comparison, but it's the only one we've got and it's the best because the primary thing that makes both of these games stand out is that they're hybrids of different genres. But then as long as I think it's okay to say that as long as we make sure it's known that they are very different.
Yeah,
But in the long run, what Massive really needs to make sure about is that they're going to have content because that was a point that Goth made in his stream this morning, who, if you guys don't know, he's a huge Destiny streamer, and he's been doing that every day, since Destiny came out, and that I believe he said this month marks the longest gap in Destiny's lifetime without new content.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I played that game every day, and I loved it, but now I'm not really excited anymore because there's nothing new to do. And so as long as they can keep giving us new stuff to do in the Division, I think this is, the base set of mechanics is such that they can last for a really long time. And yeah, that's really what it's going to come down to.
Definitely.
What about you, Captain?
I mean, it's really depends on what way you're comparing it because, yeah, I mean, the only other thing that would even be semi-comparable to this was that little-known game Defiance off of that TV show that bombed, and that was the closest thing in terms of gameplay versus the MMO mix. But really, I mean, I'm just hoping that the comparison doesn't push any negative connotations with it. I think everybody's very skeptical about hype in its own way, which this is.
The negatives you're talking about is like the lack of story or...
Well,
Yeah.
the negatives in terms of being let down by a game this hard, like we did on Destiny, because obviously there was like a lot of promises that were dropped, and feeling like, and I know we'll get to that in another topic, but I feel like that's the way it's going, where everybody is, or at least half of the people are predetermined to hate this game because it's hyped and because it's trying
to be
something.
fair, and I don't mean to cut you off. That's just this entire generation. That don't matter
That's
what
true.
kind of game it is. Everybody's like, before the game comes out, like it just seems to be like a bunch of people break shit down this generation before we even like get to it.
It's
Like,
very
before
true.
it's even known, like we'll take it, we'll pick it apart before you got Digital Foundry breaking down how it looks. Then you got the reviewers breaking down before they even play the game.
Yeah, the game doesn't even have enough time to breathe at that point.
They get it for an hour, and they said, "Oh, this game is terrible. The mechanics are horrible." Then you got, the fans who listen to those two different groups, and then they make their own opinions based off what the other people are talking about. So I think that's just a problem this entire generation.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and let you finish.
It's very true too, and I know that's like a whole nother topic for a whole other
really
podcast at the same time. But all I can say is, like, comparison or no comparison, no matter what you hear, everybody I can get this out to, just please play it, even if you red box it and form your own opinion about it, because I love it. I was predetermined to love it. Maybe I was biased for it, but I think it's great. I think it's way far away from what Destiny is already. I mean, we have more story in the first 20 seconds of this beta than we got in Destiny. So I'm liking to think that this might be the turning point for these MMO games, because I really don't want this one to I don't want this one to fail. I like this genre. I like RPGs mixed with shooters. I don't want this to do poorly because of people's made up Destiny comparisons with it, in honesty.
Cool. Good points. Good points. What about you, Desert She-Wolf? You think it's fair comparison between Destiny and Division?
Well, because they are two games that are, you know, trying to push the limits of the gaming world. It's not a standard, you know, run through this map and you're done kind of thing. It's kind of like an endless game. It's kind of like what The Witcher 3 sort of should have been, but they just kind of made it a single player. But I think The Division is everything that everyone thought Destiny was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Like, you have, for instance, it actually didn't get talked about, I meant to mention it, but in the Dark Zone, when you run near somebody, you can talk to them. You can hear them talking to their friends.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the alpha.
No, it wasn't in
the Dark Zone's
alpha,
completely different because of it.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, you actually can talk to people. In PvE, I believe it's the same thing. If you're near a group of people, you can talk to them if they're not in their group. And that's what Destiny lacked. Like, you go to the tower and you have nothing. You can't even... You get random messages from people, or just people randomly joining your group because they can't ask you.
Yeah. And that's another good point about the tower, too. That's another thing. I don't mean to cut you off, She-Wolf, is that the world in Division is not static. It's moving.
Yeah, it's moving.
Destiny is everything is static. Like, nothing happens anywhere you go. Like, the same set of sequence goes over and over and over. You get to the tower and there's nothing going on. People are just walking around looking for gear, turning stuff in, but there's nothing. There's no dynamic movement. There's no change of anything. The weather doesn't change. It gets night, day, that's it. You know, like, it's nothing. It's static. It's completely static. Like, you're looking out the tower, you see that big world and the Traveler. It's just a painting. You can't even go there.
And you wish you could, because it looks so gorgeous down there.
Exactly. So go ahead. I'll let you finish. But that was good.
That's awesome.
But that's pretty much where, you know, I stand. It's The Division is everything that I think everybody wanted Destiny to be. So, and I think that's why they compare it so much. And at the same point, you know, you also get like the fast track, which was another thing that I forgot to bring up, was that you can fast track to your players and stuff, where in Destiny, you know, you can't. You have to like get on your Sparrow and drive to them and stuff like that. But also, of course, the groups, when you're in a fire team, you can have 4 instead of 3.
Hmm.
So, you know, like there's a lot of things that, again, Destiny should have been, and I think that's why people compare it, because they were both in the same hybrid form of state where they're the games pushing the boundaries. Like, I think Fable Legends is going to end up getting compared to them because they're the same kind of style.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. We'll see. Awesome. Great topic, guys. Let's go on to the next one here. And this is a pretty big one, you know, as what we're seeing with Destiny and now the Division is, will this game be relevant in a year from now? Do you think that it will have the popularity of Destiny? Will it be able to carry this momentum in the next year?
That's that $1 million question, huh? You already gonna throw it on the stuff? Okay.
I would actually like to kind of start this one.
Sure,
go ahead.
They've actually already announced that they're actually going to be doing this in a few different parts. They're going to have their season pass and their DLC, which I know is going to be another topic, but they're also going to be releasing events, and they're going to be releasing free content.
Outside the season pass.
Cool.
Outside of the season pass, there's going to be free content that's going to be released. They've already stated that. So I think we're going to actually see a lot more from this game, and plus, with them doing the world base that they did, they can literally just add another, like, heck, they can add Canada and have you go up and freaking shoot bears and mooses or something. Like, they literally opened it up to where they could literally add anything to this world.
But do you think, even with the DLC and the stuff we know as of right now, that people will be playing it as much as Destiny in a year?
Oh yeah, I think so. I gave up on Destiny within the first 2 weeks after it came out.
Well,
Awesome.
I guess I'll go next.
Go for it, bud.
It's hard as a gamer to ask me that question. There's a lot of fucking games coming out, and
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. In 6 months, I may not be playing the Division because you got all this other stuff probably coming out. Because once like Gears
Quantum
4 comes
Break,
out, I
Gears
probably
4.
won't be even touching the Division when Gears comes out. So I mean, it depends on who you're asking, but in general, I think the game has legs. I think it's gonna have legs. People are gonna. I'm gonna go back constantly to Division. So if that's what you're asking, then definitely I will still be playing it. So I mean, especially with the fact that the Destiny situation got pushed back, and we don't know when that's coming out, the next one or the next DLC. So this will probably be people's fix for like at least the next year or so. When it comes to this type of game, people are probably gonna jump ship from Destiny when this comes out. But for me, I'll be definitely coming back to it. I mean, the beta left a great impression on me. I'm happy with the game, so there's a lot of stuff coming out. So that's a really hard question to ask. Ask me again in like 6 months, my answer may be
Okay.
different. So,
Will do. All right. What about you, Captain Zazzma?
In terms of it, I mean, if it has legs, like, I like the game, but none of this is for us to decide at this point. Yeah, I'll be playing it. It's just a matter of what they do for content. They already have the model set in front of them, too. I mean, follow one of the most well, actually, is it the most successful MMO of all time? World of Warcraft. You follow it with good expansions. You have a bunch of public events. Just do what is set aside for MMOs, and I don't think it's tough. I mean, I really do not think that it's a hard thing for them to do. They just have to keep on it and not abandon this game. And that's I mean, I'll be playing it as long as they keep putting out stuff for it.
You got to remember too, there's a lot that can go wrong in that.
That is true.
That's true.
I mean,
That is very true.
They have to execute the content perfectly, because if you just say, "Hey, here's a season pass," but it doesn't count the DLC that's coming out next month, you're gonna have to pay for that separate. People are gonna look at you like you got 3 heads, because that's exactly what happens.
I mean, it's very true.
And these companies aren't above doing that. Ubisoft's not above doing that.
Mhm.
So it really depends. They have to execute it well. Like you said, the model's there. It's clearly there. They can follow that model and be fine, but just the way things have been going this generation, you never know what these developers are gonna do. They may decide to make every gun in the game. Let's throw in 5,000 microtransactions and make everybody pay for extra stuff. Like, who knows? It just depends on how things are going to go. So he made a great point. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
again.
It's very true too. I mean, and I hope they stick with what they're saying, because it has been announced that microtransactions are in the game, but they have also announced that it is also all cosmetic. So, assuming that we can't buy a weapon and it doesn't become pay to win, I mean, I'm completely okay with having stuff added on. I've never been one of the biggest ones about this microtransaction thing if it doesn't affect core gameplay. It doesn't really matter. But they have to keep up with it. Give me a new little gang or something like that, because right now it's looking like it's the cleaners and with the flamethrowers, and I've just been calling them the drug dealers, because they've been
that's what they look like.
Yeah, and running around with baseball bats, and it's like, I just want to see, like, I mean, give me just enough interesting to keep me going, because I'm shocked that people are still on Destiny as it is, and it's still got the legs to keep going. So I don't think this game's going to have too much of an issue, or at least I hope not, unless something goes catastrophically wrong. Fingers crossed.
Actually, going back to that point, Captain, is that, all of us, we even did it. As soon as they actually released the Taken King, we all went back to Destiny.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be one of those games that, it could sit there, but people will probably go back to it to play it.
Get you back.
Yeah, I think it's going to turn out to be like one of those games.
Which World of Warcraft does do the same thing. I mean, they fluctuate every time that something new comes out. So,
but like everyone's saying in the chat, it needs to. They either need to succeed or they're gonna break. It's one or the other. It's just how it's gonna be.
Because they don't have a lot of wiggle room. there's a lot of other stuff
Right.
coming out. Like this, I don't have to play the division if it doesn't live up to what I think. So you know what I'm saying? Like the game has a really good foundation, and that's more than a lot of other games can say at this point right now. So most games come out, they come out broken, half-assed done. This game's come out really solid foundation. All as we're saying is just build on what you already have,
Yeah, and
and just be true to with the idea that you already have. So,
like on top of that as well, they could really decide to do something cool if it's possible. I don't know how much in-game assets this takes, but what if, like World of Warcraft, they progressively do the story where this continues and then we don't see winter anymore until this amount of time? We get a spring, we get a summer, we get something else where they actually change the environment on us. They don't have to change the map whatsoever, just change it where it looks different. And that could be something that could,
that's the next level. I mean, could they
yeah,
do that?
it
I
could
mean, I don't know.
revitalize the
Sure.
entire game for anybody
I mean,
if the
yeah,
seasons were
well,
changing.
that's
That would
true. That
be,
would be cool.
yeah.
That would be neat to see like New York all green and everything overgrown, like The Last of Us kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. You're right.
Yeah, like if
Well,
they did like a year one type thing where you sort of beat the game and can almost have areas of the city that are almost getting restored, and you can see some plant life coming back and people maybe actually living in homes and having the semblance of a normal life in some
Yeah.
parts of this, like an actual year down the road. Like that would be a
That'd be
2017
really
update.
nice.
well, this kind of brings up because there's all those contaminated zones, but yet nobody actually knows what they're there for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, can
What
we
about you,
decontaminate those, or what are we gonna find? Yeah, like
Cleaning
that's-
them. Just play
Yeah.
on.
there you go. Yeah. In this next mod, you just join the cleaners and just destroy
Oh,
everything.
I
Well,
would
game's
love
over.
that.
So when we talk about whether or not this game's really going to have legs, or excuse me, whether or not anyone's going to be playing this in a year from now, it's going to come down to whether they continue to produce content that people are going to want to play, and what else comes out. Because the same thing that keeps popping into my head is, well, let's see after Quantum Break, because right now everyone's super excited for the Division because we've got this amazing beta we're playing. The game comes out in just a little over a month, but then a month after that, Quantum Break's going to come out, and there's so many people who are
I'm
not
hyped for Quantum Break.
But doesn't Quantum Break actually end up isn't it just a story and it ends? So once
I
you
don't know.
beat
I don't know.
it, isn't it isn't it
Because
kind of
it
one of
goes
those?
along with the TV show also, so I don't know how
Yeah.
that affects the
Oh,
action.
okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean,
That would really be my only thing with games coming out is the fact that they'll come out, but then once you beat them, chances are you'll either go back to Destiny or you'll go back to the Division. It's what most people do now.
that's entirely agreeable too, because yeah, I mean, we hit our breaks. Like Uncharted 4, I'm gonna hop off for like a week until I beat it. Quantum Break, a week until I beat it. I think the first one that's gonna come up in competition would be Scalebound in actuality, because I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm always hunting for those co-op games because
Well,
that's
yeah,
the only
it's
thing that I
supposed to be
play.
a form of they want to do it some form of a co-op MMO type thing.
Well,
So
there's
that's,
some
I mean,
there's some other multiplats too. You got Homefront, you got that
that's
Ghost
true.
Recon game.
Mhm.
So there's other games, they're not just exclusive, but there's some other multiplats that may take some people's attention away, especially if they end up being good. So we don't know really much about those games, but like I was saying, this kind of goes back to what GKB was asking us about. If you're going to be playing this in a year, you're asking me. I may be dabbling still in the Division, but I'm probably going to be playing Gears. I'm probably going to be playing Recore
Right.
when that comes out. I'm probably, you know what I'm saying? So a couple multiplats maybe. So it just depends on, what you're doing. But I think a lot of people are still going to go back to the Division if they execute the game right and provide enough content, because it already has a great base, kind of what Zazzma was saying. I just think they just need to provide the content to keep people interested in the game. So I mean, there's not another Assassin's Creed coming out. So this year, at least that's what it was reported. So I mean, you don't have another Ubisoft game in a way. Although I'm hearing rumblings of a Watch Dogs 2 at E3 maybe. So
Yeah.
I don't know why they would do that to themselves right after the Division, because they're like virtually almost the same kind of game, I guess you could say, without the multiplayer aspect. And well, there is a multiplayer aspect in Watch Dogs, but it's crap. so nobody plays it. But I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So
Ghost Recon too. They might compete with themselves.
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So it depends. Like,
All right, before we move on to the last final topic, and maybe we'll take some questions from the people watching. AsthMattic, did you finish your point? I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's just like I really feel like that's what it's going to come down to because it's a great game, and I think that's really what's slowly killing Destiny right now. That's where they're bleeding out. Is that I love that game, like playing that game, I enjoy it, but I don't have anything new to do, and I don't always have 6 people online to do the raid with, so there's no reason for me to play that right now. But you know, if they keep doing DLC here, and if they can do those regular events and have them actually be something that I want to log on for, because I didn't log on to Destiny to do Sparrow Racing League, and the thing they're doing for
Oh,
Valentine's
you didn't want the Christmas outfit?
Yeah, see, like, you know, I'm like, whatever. And the Valentine's Day thing isn't really getting me all excited. Yeah, and they did that thing at Christmas with I don't even remember.
They did the Halloween paper mask ones.
Yeah, like, I didn't log on for any of that. I want, and maybe that's just me, but yeah, I want the little events in this game to really be something that's going to make me say, all right, as soon as I want to know when that goes live, because I'm going to be online to do that.
Yeah, I agree too. I want those little events to have impact on the world, because what we see, it looks like a living world. So I hope the events actually impact what's going on. As far as will it have legs? Will it be around? I think it will be around. I much like everything else. Like when I was playing Destiny, I would still take breaks and play other games. I could see myself playing this really hard, like the first month or two when it comes out, then take a break, go play Quantum Break or whatever other game comes out, and then going back to it, kind of like my in-between other games game. Does that make sense? But yeah, I could definitely see the community getting around this game and still being around for a year or two or so. Only time will tell, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into my final topic here for the night, and then we might take a question or two from the audience. I wanted to go around and get everybody's. We talk so much and we talk a lot about the division. I want to bring it around full circle and let's go over the pros and cons from everyone. I want to start with the cons because I want to end the podcast on a good note. So we'll go over the pros after that. So let's go ahead and if you guys want to do like one or two cons or pros, that's fine. Let's go ahead and start with Captain Zazzma on this one.
My biggest con has been just the negativity against this game is one thing that I have noticed that I don't like, but that's for a different time. Real cons, I don't like that they took out the drone support from cell phones.
Oh, good point, man.
Everybody forgets about that too, and I have even too. I just remembered it.
I was going to ask
that.
for the record.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, somebody mentioned it earlier too in the comments. So
Awesome.
Yeah, so good. I mean, I'm glad that it hasn't been forgotten as a whole. Maybe, well, I doubt it, but maybe if we complain about it enough, we might get it back. But yeah, that's never going to happen. That's just a pipe dream. That's one of my biggest complaints because I was super excited for like blowing off work just to do that, and that was going to be like my side stuff. So that would have been something cool. And yeah, I just really hope that, especially since I'm playing it over on Xbox, that none of this cheating base that has affected PC is getting over here, because people have found their way to get invisible, like infinite ammo, infinite health. It's
Well,
something
I want
like
to cut
that,
in
but-
for. I want to cut you off for. There is a cheating because when you're in the dark zone, people run into the red and then go to the safe areas. So there is.
Hopefully that's going to be remedied though the moment the
yeah,
game.
that sounds like it'll be
Yeah.
patched. It's like
Yeah. They
Because
definitely have to
those
patch that.
boundaries won't be there anymore. Well, hopefully those boundaries won't be there anymore, and they'll just be trapped like the animals that they are, waiting to get gunned down by the heavy hammer of justice. So, and that's my only real complaint. I think everything else is very much on point as far as it goes. I mean, cons-wise, I don't really see too many from the start of it.
Awesome. What about you, Desert?
Mine is crouching. That still drives me crazy. You should be able to crouch.
Are you serious?
Yeah, exactly. Like what
Really?
game
You
can't
just
teabag?
Come on, you just
I
lost.
always hated that.
Every
Seriously,
from
I
9
can't.
to 15, they're not buying this game.
I hate
Lost out on so
teabagging. I
many
really
sales.
do.
crazy.
Every time I see people doing it, I'm like, really grow up. It drives me crazy when
Well,
they
you
do
gonna
it.
hate me then, girl.
No, I won't, because you can't do it in this game.
That's true.
No, I'd have to say like the crouching, and maybe just not enough to do in the dark zone. Like, I guess really.
That's fair.
Oh, and also the leveling base, where you have to be like certain levels with your friends to get into certain, what is in the dark zone. Like if you're level 8, you can't go in if you have like say 2 people who are like level 4s, you can't go and run around with them. You
Yeah.
have to actually be in the level 8 area, so, that makes it a little hard.
Yeah, I think they're doing that though to stop power leveling and griefing like low level players. I mean,
Well, I understand that, but if you have if your friends all like just started after you and you're level 8 and they're like level 5s running around, you're like all by yourself, kind of like, oh yeah, this is fun.
That's true.
You can't play with friends at that point.
Go for it, AsthMattic. What's your cons?
Well, I'm sitting here and I got it loaded up on my TV and I'm looking at the map and I see what looks like is going to be the full map, but then at the same time there's other areas that are outside of that, and I love my open world games and I want to see this map be as big as it possibly can.
Mhm.
And if the map is the size that I'm seeing here, I'm going to call that a con, because I want it to be this whole huge circle in here where we can get across the river and we can go further down to the south. And if that's something they're going to add, they're planning to add later in expansions, that's fine. I can deal with that. But I want to see the biggest area possible, and I'm not sure I'm fully satisfied with what I'm seeing here, if that's what the full map is going to be. A con, they changed the way you change weapons from the alpha to the beta, and I liked it in the alpha better. That bugged me. The whole tapping Y to get to your secondary, I liked tapping Y to go to my pistol, because that's the way I played. I typically ran with that, and then I only switched to my primary when it really got thick. And I'm a little concerned to see how it's going to be at the end game for PvE content, because is it just going to be keep replaying missions? Because as great as I'm sure these missions are going to be, there is going to come a time 3 months after everyone's beaten the game that it's going to get stale. Even the most fun mission ever is going to be stale 6 months down the road, and I'm a guy who likes PvE content, and I'm going to want to see more new stuff in the long run.
Awesome.
Now, they did say, though, because I got a question for you on the map size thing, they are saying from initial reports that is the full map, but it takes about, in a full sprint, 21 minutes to get from one side to the other. So I don't know how you feel about that as a whole.
All right. We'll
Wait,
see. Just 'cause
21 real life minutes? Or,
That's what they are saying, yeah. To sprint across it is 21 minutes.
well,
all right.
I don't know.
It seems
Because
like
I could say on a Destiny map, it'll probably take 20 minutes to get across from it if I ran and I wasn't using my Sparrow. So that's really not that big in video game terms. Like in my opinion, I mean, it may, like a game like The Witcher would probably take far longer than that because it's huge. But that's not. I mean, 20 minutes is. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Because when you look at it, we've kind of got like the beta area like two more times, or 2.5 more times, and it's just like, because when you play the beta, you kind of start down on the lower left and you go all the way through and you do everything, and it's like an hour or two before, not before you've done everything, but before you've fully explored, before you've been in all of those areas. And so if you kind of take that out and you're like, yeah, maybe after 5 or 6 hours, I will have technically been able to have been, like in every district per se. Obviously not counting the fact that, you're going to start out at level 1 and you're not going to be able to hop right into the level 30 zones. But just that where, and yeah, I do feel like I would want the map to be bigger than this in the long run. And yeah, hopefully, for me, I'm hoping that that's something they'll be able to expand on, because there is that area to the south and an area to the north that could potentially be opened up later.
Awesome. All right. Let me go with Captain Zazzma. Sorry, forgot. Was reading some questions.
No, I went first, I
It's
thought.
Blam.
Oh, Blam. Sorry, I got caught up in the chat here.
It's all right, no problem, no problem. Well, I I guess my main concern would just be content. I don't really have any other concerns with the game. It's fine the way it is now.
Well, you want your teabagging.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's some pie in the
Important
sky
content
stuff.
there.
Now I'm gonna have to contact Ubisoft CEO about that. We have to- but no, content's gonna be the biggest thing for me. Are you gonna be able to pull me away from some other game 6 months from
Right.
with the content? Because I mean, you can give me some DLC, but DLC is DLC. Like you can give me DLC. They could say, okay, well, you have to go through Madison Square Garden backwards this time. This is the new DLC. Like that's not really DLC. Like we've
Doesn't
already
count.
done that. It doesn't
Mhm.
count. So we'll see what kind of DLC. Like if it's full on, like you're giving me a whole extra borough of New York. Like that's completely different. Like that's gonna make me say, "Oh hell, let me get back on this game." So I think content will be the biggest thing for me. I don't really have any other like big issues with the game. I mean, some people are a little overcritical, like Zazzma was saying earlier about the game. Everybody has their own preference, which is fine with me. But not DLC, but content is going to be the biggest issue for me. Hopefully, they just put out some good DLC, support it. Don't wait too long for the DLC, and don't screw us with the actual like pricing and the season pass, like because that'll kill the whole mood of the game. That's what killed Destiny. You bought the season pass. I bought the season pass thinking I'm gonna get every single DLC that comes out, and I ended up having to buy it and taking King all over. You know what I'm saying? Like extra.
Right.
So don't do stuff like that. That's gonna piss people off and make people not want to play. So as long as they do that, I don't really have any gripes with the game. So.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, sorry if I can interrupt. I just have to ask Matt another thing one more time
Sure, go
about
for
the
it.
map size. Now, how do you feel about the underground section of the map? Do you have the game fired up right now?
Yes, I do.
All right. Go to the
You-
corner of West 23rd Street and 7th Avenue, and there is an underground entrance where
Sewers,
I just discovered a massive underground system that I had never seen before.
Wow,
7th
you're so late there, Dakota. We were
No,
already
there's
in that lake and running around with the
There's
train
two different
stations down there
ones.
and everything.
7th and
I was there
23rd.
that time.
I just set a waypoint. I'm on my way.
Awesome.
It's amazing down
I was
there.
with you guys on that one. Don't lie.
No,
There's a
no.
second one.
No,
All right, guys.
the
I
one
think that's
that
one of the DLCs as well. Is all
It is
underground
underground,
related
right?
stuff.
It's underground. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
But
awesome.
that one's a horde mode. I don't know
Yeah, I
how I'm
like
feeling
horde
about that.
Yeah, they
Um,
actually released what some of the DLC, like what is going to be in some of the season pass.
That's awesome. Some of the cons I have are really like what we were talking about before with the bullet sponge enemies. I'm not a big fan of that. I hope they change that a little bit. Man, there's not much that I really didn't like about this beta. The UI I think needs to be cleaned up and smoothed out. I think there's just too much going on. Especially when they add the crafting system and everything in there, it's just going to be so much to try and keep track of. So I hope that kind of gets changed and tweaked a little bit. Man, that's about it for me as far as the cons. What do you guys think of the pros? Did I get everybody on the cons?
I think so.
Yeah.
Alright.
yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and start the pros with AsthMattic.
To really boil it down for me, I'm gonna go with atmosphere because this game really feels like survival. I love having my pack, really having that feeling, like especially when I go into the dark zone on my own, that I'm in a survival situation, and that if I fail, there's consequence there, and that I'm how do I want to say it? Like the situation rides on my success, and that whether or not I'm gonna pull the city out of the situation, really depends on my personal success or failure. And I really think they nailed that atmosphere. And I'm not talking about just like the way the game looks or the weather or anything like that, but just the way it feels that, when you're running around, you really get that. And the way they do the seamless multiplayer, hopping into the dark zone when it hooks you up with other people and gets you in that server, works so well. And I like the freedom of the dark zone, because that's one thing that I've really always respected about the way Blizzard runs World of Warcraft, is that we've all been in that situation where you just keep getting wrecked by some guy who's camping at the graveyard, and it's like all you want to do is be mad and get rid of him, but it's like, dude, that's PvP. That's how it works. And the same thing happens here. It's really real. It's not, there's no thing where it's like, okay, there's no like safety button. Like, no, dude, sometimes you get wrecked. sucks. I really like the realism of that.
Awesome. What about you, PTK? What's your pros?
My pros. Well, I want to, let's start here because Ubisoft has got a bad rap ever since Unity came out and was completely unplayable and broken. So they've done a lot, and I want to give them a big hand because they did they did their shit with this game. They really did their shit with this game. They brought it, and we'll see that with the final product. Obviously, I can only say that speaking from the perspective of the beta, but they really did a damn good job as far as this overall quality. I mean, just the small details in the game, like you said, the environment not being static, the weather changing, the way the game looks, the way it runs. Especially for a beta, I didn't have any issues, frame rates or anything crazy like that going on. So they did that also well. I'm very interested in the story. It's probably going to be what I play more so than the Dark Zone.
Mhm.
I'm very interested in seeing what they're going to do with the story and how they're going to actually introduce that because, like She-Wolf was saying earlier, you have the echoes which kind of tell the backstory a little bit, but they're not really giving us much. So I really want to see how the story changes and how it grows and how your player is involved with the whole tragedy and the whole catastrophe, how everything was going on. And I really do want them to go back and do maybe like you said, the idea of the first prologue mission being before everything happened, like the collapse happened, and seeing New York in its regular state, and then playing through it afterwards in its chaotic state as it is now. I think that'll be cool. But I mean, I'm hyped for the game, so I think it did a lot of great things well, and as long as they continue to build on that, I think they'll do fine.
Awesome. What about you, Desert?
My cons, it's pretty much.
Pros.
Oh, pros. Yeah. Okay, either way, it's still, it's best of all my worlds. It's an MMO with pretty much COD. So, I really like everything about the game. I like being able to run in and just kill people if I want to kill people, survive if I want to survive. I can run around and do missions. It's pretty much everything about the game. And from things I've read about the season pass, again, like we didn't really talk about it, but with the expansions that they have, it's really going to be interesting with them opening up the underground and then having the survival mode and special events for season pass holders and stuff like that. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they bring. So I'm really excited and I want the game to release.
Awesome. I want to bring something up too.
Sure.
Sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off, but the one thing that this game also has to be careful of doing, which Destiny did, do not, and I repeat, do not, if you're listening, anybody from Ubisoft, do not break your fan base into groups, because what Destiny did was it took the weapons, armor, and it made them almost exclusive. It's like you virtually had to have that set of those weapons and different things like that to feel like you were competitive. Like don't break your base up like that to where, because there were times where doing a raid, they're like, oh, do you have a Gjallarhorn? I don't have one. We can't really do the raid if you don't have a Gjallarhorn. Don't make it where it's so disjointed. Like if I don't have a P90 or some souped up gun, I don't really have that well of a chance when I get into the dark zone. You know what I'm saying? Like don't make it so. And I think they're doing that with the fact you're just gonna be able to buy it as soon as you accrue enough credits. So I guess that helps. That way it'll be available to everybody. Just they have to really be careful with this kind of game. So they definitely have a great something to work off of with Destiny. Okay, they did this wrong. Let's not do that, and try and figure out a way to do it better. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So
with that point, we also noticed with the vendors, they actually change. Like their supplies actually changed quite a bit, which was actually pretty cool too.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that.
Destiny does, yeah.
Yeah, Destiny they change once every 12 months or something. So I mean it's crazy, but I like the fact. Yeah, that's a neat feature though. I didn't even notice that too, She-Wolf. Good point.
Some of the pros I have is I absolutely enjoy the weapons in this game. I love the weapon progression where you go from white, green, blue, purple, and I think gold is the last one, which is the high end. I thought that was fantastic. I love that in MMOs. I love the simplicity of the gear where there's only a few So you really have to make good choices on how you want to play and how your team is going to play. I think the mechanics are so solid, and just the overall feel and graphics of the game, it just draws you in. You really think that you're in New York City and this is really happening. I always love that immersion in the game. So those are some of my pros. What about you, Captain Zazzma?
No, I'm right with you on that one with the immersion. I mean, this is something that speculation-wise could really happen to us disease-wise. It's always possible. Don't
I
want
think
to.
that's why everybody's all like, "Oh, the ambiance," because it's something that can actually
It can
happen.
actually
Yeah,
happen.
Yeah.
Destiny is so far. That's like, Halo does a really good job of like immersing us with the music but we, like none of that stuff. That's science fiction. So we
Hmm.
can only it can only be, be so relatable. Something like this is very, very, we're like right around the corner from something like this happening. So like it kind of creates that illusion like, oh wow, you become a little bit more invested into the game because something like this can actually happen, and so that part of your brain becomes like invested, like
That's
because it's like the
awesome.
curiosity, and it's awesome. It's a great feature. It's a good. It's a leg up. It's a huge plus for them. You know what I'm saying?
It
That they're
is.
not like the whole sci-fi thing or anything like that.
It absolutely. I mean, it is absolutely like an area where I have been so bogged down with everything being sci-fi or fantasy, and it's been such a long time since something's been either history or some type of realism that I've been able to play, that this is refreshing. And another cool part about it is the not only the level of detail, but the realism of this New York. Like, I was just able to give him real directions to a point of a map that I
Right.
wanted to see. And
Yeah.
it's like, I just wish there was branding, because it's like, oh, the enemy's ducking in the Sbarro where the old Blockbuster used to be. Like,
So great.
it's like a level of, like, I've just been discovering stuff that is right out of the boundaries of the map that is absolutely, like, incredible. I mean, you go into full shopping malls, you just have to, like, you only get 9 seconds to look at it because it'll take you out of the map. There's a full shopping mall on the side of it, fully decorated, everything like that. I think it was, wasn't it you, GKB, who was telling me that people were actually, like, taking pictures near places where these landmarks
Yeah,
are actually
I
at
saw
and
that.
everything?
I
Yeah.
saw that.
In real life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
They're posting
level.
on Twitter and everything.
yeah, it's on Twitter. I saw that. I saw some pictures.
I mean, it's one-to-one realism of it is just like, I mean, I've never been to New York. I don't even feel like I have to go now, because, like, this is so close to, well, without all the apocalypsy stuff, which I feel like is an added bonus.
Yeah.
It's such a great environment, and you feel like it was just Christmas, and because I think it's actually Black Friday that the story takes place.
Right after, yeah.
Yeah, right after Black Friday, which is just horrifying, of course, working Black Fridays now. So that's going to be the theme in the next one. But it's a definitely a level of immersion that I haven't seen in a game in at least a really good long time.
I
That's
actually have another pro that wasn't actually talked about. The customization. We didn't get to play with it in the betas, but they actually have full
Character
character.
creation,
Yeah, they have full character,
Yeah,
and they'll have
yeah.
skins for your guns and everything.
Nice. That's gonna be cool.
No, that's
That is.
awesome.
I forgot about that. You're right. You're right. I forgot about the customization aspect.
Yeah, we didn't really get to play on it. You kind of got stuck with whoever they gave you,
Wish
but
they would have unlocked it.
yeah, but they actually have like I was trying to click on it. They have like hair, eyes, everything. Like you'll be able to make your person more to you,
Like
so you'll actually feel
Fallout-esque?
more.
Fallout 4 almost?
Yeah.
Then on
a lot like
Fallout 4,
that.
you can literally
Well,
do anything.
I don't know if they're gonna go that in base with it, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think
But you're
anything
gonna get
is that
options
in
more than
base.
just pick a random.
I want to give out a couple of shout outs, guys. I've been watching the chat. I really appreciate the support, guys. Big shout out to B Money, the Mooch, Foxfire, Windy City, everybody else in there, man. You guys have been
Predator,
fantastic.
Boomerang,
Predator.
all you guys, man.
We really appreciate the support, guys. Anybody else didn't get to go for the pros?
Everybody went. It's just kind of grab some questions from.
All right, let's get some questions from the people out there. I know you were in there. Desert, did you grab a couple? There's one I wanted to touch real quick. What's up, Blow Diablo? Thanks for joining us, brother.
Blow. So how you doing, baby?
um, there's a pretty good question, and it could affect like what Blam was saying earlier. As far as like the player base and stuff, Microsoft does have the marketing deal for the Division. How do you guys feel that will impact the game, if at all, at any? Let's go ahead and start with Desiree on that one.
I play Xbox, so I don't think it's gonna matter to me.
That's a good point.
I'm on Xbox, so I'm happy with the marketing. Hey,
I cannot argue with that one.
Bring that custom
That
Xbox.
is the greatest answer I've ever heard in my life.
I want to see the custom Xbox, but leave the sound away. I got the Halo one, and oh my god, every time I turn that thing on now, I just want to break it because the noise just gets... Yeah, that just gets annoying. But the marketing deal, I hope they bring a custom Xbox. That would be really awesome. But again, I'm on Xbox, so it's not going to affect me in any way.
I want to hear from Captain Zazzma on this one.
I mean, in honesty, like that's it in a whole. The marketing deals is a whole nother show altogether. I personally am tired of them as a whole. I don't know if we're going to see anything past it being a day extra beta. I don't know if they've announced anything like the DLC comes early. I don't know. As far as the marketing deals go, I mean, I haven't seen anything that's like that impressive on it. I mean, it's in any marketing deal, not just this one. It's just one of those things where it's like it gives me, because I'm over at Best Buy actually, it just gives me different posters to put up on one side of the store or a different side, and that's all that these are coming down to at this point. So it's one of those things where if it affects it, cool, I'm playing it on Xbox. If it doesn't, they have different posters that say Xbox and Division. I don't know how much it's going to matter.
Okay, good points. What about you, AsthMattic? I haven't heard from you in a while.
I'm really happy that it's only a marketing deal. Like, as an Xbox guy, I'm excited to see Xbox getting, cool nods like this, and I guess I'll use the term exclusives like this, but I'm really happy that it's just a marketing deal and we're not getting, like, what happened in Destiny where we've got, like, oh, these weapons are only on Xbox, or even if it's just a timed exclusive, because it makes the whole game experience less healthy for everyone, because you've got guys on whatever consoles have the exclusives who now all of a sudden feel like they're more important than the other guys, and the people who don't get the exclusives feel cheated and feel left out and like they're not getting the full experience. And so, as happy as I am, I think this is the best way to do it, and I like the way this is being done because PlayStation and PC guys aren't missing out on what is going to be a fantastic game, and Xbox guys, we get to be like, yeah, we got this cool marketing. We really enjoyed playing the beta for an extra day, or 2 extra days, I guess, technically, because they added the other day on for everybody, so we only got 1. But it's great. Yeah, it's great. I'm happy to see this one come our way.
Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with that too. It's like it started a long time ago. They shouldn't be robbing any side of content in the game that actually makes a difference, timed or what have you. Because Destiny's time for a year?
Yeah.
A year that they have it, and it's like I didn't get to run those strikes. I own both systems, play them both, but since I chose to play it on Xbox, I was robbed of content.
Yeah.
Keep marketing at what it is. I mean, marketing, like it's just as bad as GameStop tacking the Red Hood DLC for like half a year onto their and it feels like it's an unfair advantage to make sales one side or the other, in honesty.
Yeah, and the way they did it in Destiny too, like Bungie kind of followed that up the wrong way, because then after that year, when the content was available on Xbox, the way they did Taken King content, the new stuff we got wasn't relevant anymore.
That's very true. Very true.
It's like, great. It's like, I don't care about having a multi-card load now.
It's really a screw you to the Destiny players on Xbox. It's not like, I don't even know if it's helping either system. It's just like hurting my perception of these developers. You have your console exclusive games, then your multi-plat should be multi-plats. I shouldn't be missing a section of this game because of it, in honesty. And that's just, it's annoying, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, all's fair, love and war in business. So, you got to do something to make your side look a little bit more
very true, though.
presentable. So, I mean, if I run a donut shop and you run a donut shop, my donut sign better be twice the size of yours, because I want people eating my donuts, not yours.
Bro, you
Okay.
got
So
that raspberry exclusive jelly
that's
for a
what
year.
I'm saying. Yeah, you don't got no jelly. I got the jelly. So, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as MS having marketing rights, I mean, I think it's a great game for them to have marketing rights on. I mean, they haven't necessarily been the best with getting behind the right third party game this generation, and even when they did, they didn't really push it as far as I thought they could have. But that's like Zazzma said, that's a whole nother podcast. We can go all over that. But I mean, ultimately, a game like this, I don't really think it's going to make that big of a difference because I haven't heard about any exclusive like time DLC or anything like that. There may be some announced at E3 or something like that. Who knows? We don't know at any point. But I think for this particular game, it's not really that big of a deal. I think it's just nice to see them behind, the division, and Microsoft's going to put their full force behind it, which is
Mhm.
going to make the game even better. We're all going to get to play it. So for this game in particular, I would say it doesn't really matter. Other games it may matter, like Call of Duty, because people do pick based on the DLC. Like, oh man, I want to play this Call of Duty DLC first, so I'm going to play it on this system. This game, I don't think that'll happen so much. I don't think people are going to completely go out and buy another PlayStation or Xbox just because the DLC on this game is out maybe a month early or something. So
Those Call of Duty players are a whole nother podcast too,
yeah,
though.
that's a whole
Yeah,
that's a whole nother podcast also.
for sure.
Too. So I mean, we'll see. I definitely think they put their horse behind or the horse in front of the right carriage though with the division, because I do think they have a great game to get behind and market. So that was an A+ on Microsoft's part for getting behind this game.
Yeah, for me, honestly, when we first heard about this and we didn't really know anything about the division, I thought, I don't know if Microsoft made the right decision. Now, after the alpha, the beta, the trailer, the E3, I support this 100%. The marketing deal for me opens up the possibility, because I'm a real tech guy, and seeing like a custom console, possibly custom controllers. I love what they did with the Halo bundle. And the controllers, I think that's awesome. I hope they can do that with this. And
They
Quantum
haven't done
Break.
much of that this generation.
Yeah,
Much of
it's
custom content.
it's not like the 360 where they were doing it like all the time, but
Yeah.
But
I
I
hope-
think the difference with that, though, is the fact that when they do the custom consoles now, they're not just making it look like a sticker's been put on it. They've actually been putting customized sounds in it. They've been actually putting special little details, like the Halo one, you can actually find like Master Chief's Braille and everything on it. The Forza one makes a car sound when you turn it on. So I think that's why you don't see as many, because they're not just throwing out any form of console with a sticker.
That's
They're giving you great product.
Yeah.
That's
And
true. I
have
mean,
we
that's
seen
a
any
good
of
point.
those yet that haven't been first party? Any custom consoles that were?
no,
Yeah.
not yet.
No.
The Advanced Warfare.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Good
you're
point.
right.
There it
You're
is.
right. Sorry, Advanced Warfare.
You on point, GK? I mean,
Good
Desert.
save.
Yeah.
Were you just gonna call me GKB?
I was looking at your icon that says GKB.
You guys got me really intrigued about, like, I didn't even think about the marketing deal. I'm going to try and find some apartments, see if they're running Windows 10 on these computers.
Huh?
Nice. Nice.
As long as it doesn't get to the point of ridiculous, like, accessing the little, like, what's those things on the ground over there that does the flashbacks and everything? What are they calling those?
Oh, the echoes.
Echoes.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get to the ridiculous point where it's like where it does that whole loading bar of accessing the cloud, as long as it's not like accessing the cloud sponsored by Microsoft or something like that. Like,
Product placement.
yeah, I
All
mean,
the way.
though product placement has its places, this is real life New York, and I have not ran into like an IKEA or anything yet. So,
Yeah.
like,
And my
go
base
figure.
of operations is a little bit weak, so I would love an IKEA. That would
Right.
be
Somebody
great.
find me a Starbucks.
Right.
I found a knockoff Apple store. That was about it. Like, so
What was
far.
it, like pear or something?
Yeah, it's like Pear, just like they did in Grand Theft Auto.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nice.
I actually have a question for everybody. We didn't actually talk about this. The home base and
Base of
everything
operations,
in everything that was in the home base. Though we only got to play with the medical base kind of spot,
Oh,
but
the
there's
different
still like
wings, the home
yeah,
base?
like all the different wings.
And that's
Yeah.
gonna. Each one has its own like division.
tree. Has its own like
No.
tree.
Yeah, skill
I guess
trees.
pun
Yeah,
intended.
Like,
Its
do
own
you
little
think
division
that's
of
gonna
the
end
main
up,
story.
like having its own certain like missions to those? Do you think it's gonna affect the game when it actually adds all of those in there?
It has
Yeah.
a very much effect on your abilities. If you upgrade
sure.
these wings, it gives you subsets of your abilities. So that's going to be really interesting if you want to play a healer versus a tech person. Like, it's going to have a real life impact.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
kind
how
of
you choose.
I don't mean to cut in, guys, but we definitely need to do that hashtag She-Wolf hype.
Oh,
Haha,
yeah.
funny.
Sold.
No, seriously, you're a star,
That's
girl.
awesome.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
I
Asthmatic,
was
you're saying
just
something? Oh.
I don't know, was Asma saying something?
Wait,
No, I think I was
I'm
done.
confused.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
The awkward silence.
Yeah,
everybody's-
I was like,
yeah, that's going to be really great, and I think that's going to help the main story because the problem that we've had in games like this in the past is you go down the main story and then you get sidetracked by a side quest, and then 4 days later you're like, wait, like what was I doing? What was the main quest? What's happening? Wasn't there like a guy I was supposed to save? But now where the main quest is sort of broken up into different series of side quests, it's going to feel more like that experience that you ended up doing anyway, and it's going to make the whole game feel better.
Good point.
Awesome.
Good point, Walt.
well, guys, we're I was gonna do another question, but we're pushing almost 2 hours now. Time flies when we're having fun discussing games.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll cut it here. Anybody else got anything they want to throw out there real quick about the division?
Go buy it, people.
Don't have a bad attitude. That did so much bad for the
Right.
Destiny community. Like
for
if you
anyone. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, you.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say for anyone who's come in late who hasn't got to try it, there is a rumor that there is going to be an open beta February 16th to the 21st. It is rumored, but hey, look for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and close this out. Well, this is it. I hope everyone enjoyed the very first episode of the Console Corner. Our idea for this show was to bring gamers together and talk games, and I think we accomplished that tonight. We had some great conversations. I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm going to go ahead and let these great people shout out their channels, their Twitters, whatever they want to do. We're going to go ahead and start with AsthMattic.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show, GKB. It was great to be here and get to connect with some more people. Viewers, you can check me out here on YouTube at AsthMattic. I'm working right now on getting a couple other new series started. I'm going to be going through the Xbox One in detail, everything you can do. And I'm hoping to do some more individual community spotlight stuff a little bit later on, but we'll see how that goes in the next couple months. And I'm also over on Twitter at AsthMattic117, which is obviously where all the real-time news is going to be happening. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Go ahead, PTK.
Well, you guys all know me, PTK Blam. Shop Podcast. These two gentlemen, AsthMattic and Paul, or GKB, as you guys know, are all a part of that. So don't want to put your government out there.
Secret identity revealed.
Yeah, I know, huh?
It's all good.
Batman over here. But I just want to let you guys know, the Shop Podcast will be resuming on Saturdays. Me and these other two gentlemen got some great things lined up. We talk every day behind the scenes, so we got a lot of collaborations between the three of us coming. A lot of collaborations with other YouTubers, other people on Twitter. So be on the lookout for it and subscribe to both of these guys. They got great content. My channel, you catch me on Twitter, PTK Blam. Look me up on YouTube, PTK Blam. I also have a Facebook, also too, same thing, PTK Blam. Look me up there, and I appreciate you having me on tonight, also too, GKB.
Absolutely. Go ahead and Captain Zazzma.
Kind of a freelancer right now. You can find me on Twitter at Captain Zazzma. You can help me get past 14 followers. You'll find me roving the podcast, just appearing where I'm needed.
$5 every follower, everybody. So go follow Zazzma.
Yeah, you can go and check on my YouTube. I just made it like 2 seconds ago, so you're not going to find too much, but maybe I'm kind of enjoying this as a whole, so maybe you might see something one day. We don't know.
Awesome.
We'll put him in a headlock. He's gonna do something.
Yeah, we'll get him to do something.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and get Desert She-Wolf, the absolute star of this podcast, because everybody loves her in chat. Go ahead and shout it out.
Haha. Anyways, okay, so I'm Desert She-Wolf. You can actually find me on GKB's channel. I am the co-host there. We've done some other videos. I do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff there. You can also find me on Twitter at Desert She-Wolf with a 3, so you might have to kind of look around for one of the E's being a 3, but hey. So that's about it.
Hashtag She-Wolf Unabomber.
I'm not a
Hashtag
Wow.
Division
Unabomber.
Psychopath.
Wow. You're gonna get me hit for like being a terrorist or something.
Well, in Division you kind of were, but
I was not.
those
Okay,
were innocent
Fluffy-
people.
Oh, you guys.
Fluffy
Is there a
killed me
black
first.
van pulling up outside?
No, I walked out the door. And Fluffy and Raccoon killed me first.
I was
I
there.
just
You don't
came
have
back
Those
by
are great
killing
cover
both
names.
of them.
Yeah.
We're Fluffy and Raccoon. We're gonna be
Oh,
great.
by the way,
They were there, Fluffy Raccoon.
GK,
What's up, Blair?
Wendy said he wants to make sure the description, everything's in the handles and channels are in the description too. He wants to-
Absolutely. We'll take care of that. No problem.
All right. Just wanted to run that by you so you didn't. You know, make-
Absolutely.
Also, what? Sorry, I was just gonna say one last thing. You can also find all of us on Xbox.
That's
Yep,
true.
that too.
You know, come game with us, have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
We love gaming with ourselves, so
Yeah.
never turn down one. So, I want to shout out two guys, Predator and Windy City. They're up and coming YouTubers. Predator just started his channel. Good guy, knows his stuff. Windy's another good guy. He's kind of busy. I'm gonna try and get him on the show sometime. So go ahead and subscribe to them. Take care of them, guys. This
Big
is
shout out to
GKB.
Mooch.
Go
too.
Yeah, big shout out to
No,
Mooch.
shout out to Mooch too, man. He's in here rocking out with us. You know, Mooch. Put that vino down and get your ass on the Xbox, boy.
Okay.
Wow.
If
He's
we're,
not
if
even
we're-
here to defend himself. Like,
if we're all doing shout-outs, I'm going to shout out the other girl gamer that's in the chat, chilling with everybody, Foxfire.
Absolutely.
She's also got a channel.
Yes,
Subscribe,
nice.
check her out on Twitter.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, guys, this is GKB, Gamers Knows Best. I'm on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Everybody take care of your fellow gamer, and we're out.